And welcome back to another episode of Pass Interference Podcast. I think this is episode number 5.
Yep.
Yes, if I'm not mistaken. I did not get plastered in the comments this week. Did anybody get plastered in the comments this week? You wanted to be.
We didn't hate on Michigan enough, so now we did.
Yeah. So welcome back. It's a very interesting week, and we're ready to talk about and predict more incorrect games.
I mean,
speak for yourself. Speak for yourself.
Yeah, you had the worst record.
I know, but I had the only underdog win. So
the only underdog.
Thank you, Texas Tech.
All right, so right off the bat, just going over week 4, Michigan's been a popular topic in our comment sections. They struggled a little bit against Maryland. They only won by a touchdown at home. Maryland's a solid team, so I will give them that. Like, they're not awful, but it's a team you should beat by more than 7, especially since right off the bat, Maryland basically gave Michigan a touchdown by fumbling the opening kick and setting them up in great field position. So do we think that Michigan will figure out? And Corum had like 200-something yards. Like, he had an amazing game. Yeah.
Yards.
So when your running back has an absurd game against a team you're supposed to win, not like blow them out, but win convincingly, yes. Does this mean a lot for Michigan, or are we just kind of overthinking it? You know, they won, and that's kind of all that matters type deal.
Well, not to mention that Talia Tagovailoa also got hurt during the game, so there was a portion where Maryland was really down, and they were not really a second quarterback. And they still almost, won the game. So I think Michigan needs to step it up. I mean, like you said, 30 carries, 243 yards, 2 touchdowns, Blake Corum. And I think their offense is there, but I think their defense definitely needs to step up. Because if you're playing Maryland this close, like we said, Maryland's not bad. But when you play the Ohio States, and some of the other teams in the Big Ten, you're going to have, this 27-point could easily be 45 or 48 points. So their defense definitely needs to step it up.
Yeah, I agree with those points on Cooper. I also don't feel like they're like kind of, I wouldn't say they're, kind of like run heavy, because Corum had 30 carries, and I feel like when you're facing better teams than Maryland, I feel like running the ball that much will not be effective against these other teams they're going to have to go up against. So I feel like they're going to have to air the ball out more, even though J.J. McCarthy did that a little bit during the Maryland game.
I think he did well, if I remember correctly.
But they were still pounding the ball most of the game. And I feel like they just need to do more in their passing offense in other game situations, because I feel like they're going to get rocked by these other better run defense types of teams, and that's my take on what I think Michigan should be doing.
I think it's a lack of playing a competitive non-conference schedule, because they played nobody. We've touched on that before. Colorado State was actually an underdog to FCS Sacramento State.
And they lost.
They lost.
Sac State.
Someone in the comments section said, "Oh, Colorado State's not that bad." Well,
No,
they look pretty stupid now, don't you think? But anyway, I think it's Michigan. They played their first conference game. It was a 7-point game. Maryland is going to have another good week, I think. They're going to beat Sparty. I know Preco may not like to hear that.
No, I picked Michigan State to lose these past 2 weeks.
They have not looked.
But yeah,
I'm aware.
Yeah, Maryland's not a bad team. I think they're going to give some teams some trouble. They're going to be a trap game on a lot of big, competitive Big Ten squad schedules. So yeah, I agree with you guys on the rest of it, though.
Also, kind of going back to your point about not being able to run the ball against some of the ASO teams, they're gonna have to be very creative when running the ball. I know. You hate running the ball.
I hate running the ball.
You're gonna have to get creative if it's not working. What is Michigan gonna do if they can't run the ball? They need to do jet sweeps or end arounds or running back screens that are sort of like a run play. So they're going to have to get creative in what they do, because they haven't really come across a team yet that's really given them trouble.
Yeah, and to Michigan's credit, I do think their passing game is fine. Like I think I'm not looking at the stats right now, but I'm pretty sure JJ McCarthy had a good game and was efficient. I think it was more of a, well, they can't stop us running, so why would we stop running? I don't expect them to be this run heavy going forward. It was a kind of like, if it's not broke, don't fix it type thing. And then also Donovan Edwards was out, and they like to use him more in the passing game, like you were mentioning, screens and little swing action. And he's really good in that aspect. And he wasn't and so I will give them the credit there. I do still think they're not. Are they still number 4 in AP? Yeah, I do. I don't think they're the 4th best team in the country. I liked where we had them in our pool at 6. I think right now I would take Clemson and USC over them. I think if Michigan and Tennessee would have played this past Saturday, Tennessee would have won.
100%.
So I think they're talented. I think they have time to figure things out. But I still don't think they're the 4th best team in the country. I know Michigan fans are going to get super upset for no reason. It's not bad. Play better. It's not even bad to be like the 6th or 7th best team in football.
Because if one or two teams loses, you're right in there.
Once you get in the conference play, teams ahead of you are bound to play each other.
Yeah. Exactly. They'll have their chance to prove.
That's how they lose to Ohio State.
Right. They'll have their chance to prove themselves. You got Penn State. You got Iowa, which I am excited for that game. Because
if they beat Iowa convincingly, then
that could be like
turn the script.
That could be like a 6-3 game.
Yeah, right. If their offense can look good against Iowa's defense, I think that's something for them to. That would be a big positive for them. They have plenty of time to prove themselves. I don't know why they get so upset when people say they're unproven, because the fact of the matter is that's what the truth is.
Yeah,
it's just who you've played.
To quote a movie, I don't know what the movie title was. You'll know it. You can't handle the truth.
A Few Good Men. Tom Cruise,
one.
Jack Nicholson.
Yeah, that one.
Legendary film.
Yeah, that one.
BP, I know you had some Big 12 teams you wanted to talk about.
Oh, yes. Give me some time. Okay, I appreciate it. Texas. What did I tell y'all? I told you all that they were going to lose. I know there was some speculation that if Quinn Ewers played, they might have won. But the fact of the matter is he didn't.
And they lost. Yep.
To a Texas Tech team that, they're not a pretty team. They're not bad. They're a 7-6 win caliber team, and that's just a game you can't be losing, especially blowing a lead in the 4th quarter. And then, how about them Sooners? Some of you guys over here had them as the 4th best team in the country, and my Big 12 dark horse, led by Adrian Martinez, ran all over them in that game. He was most people's that I saw player of the week because he played a fantastic game. Chris Kleiman coached a fantastic game. And there were some moments in that game where OU looked like they might be in trouble, especially going up against a TCU team who's one of the 3 unbeatens remaining in the Big 12. I think TCU could give them some trouble. That's why I think the spread's only 6.5.
I was talking with you yesterday, and I was like, I was off Oklahoma until I got talked into it by just it's not even just you. I think even because what you guys were saying made sense. I was like, Dylan Gabriel's been playing well. Defensive minded coach. If their defense can look better than Oklahoma defense has looked in previous years, that there was some truth to that. And then they did this. So I think the Big 12 is crazy good though, crazy deep too. There's not a bad team.
And I think Brent Venables has kind of fallen on the old school Big 12 trend where Dylan Gabriel played great. I think he had 4 touchdowns in the game and didn't throw any picks. So their offense is chugging along perfectly. It's just their defense is something that Venables tried.
Swiss cheese.
Yeah, it was legit Swiss cheese. And Adrian Martinez is a great dual threat quarterback, but there comes a point where you have to stop him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Kansas State ran all over the yard. We tried to watch it with crappy service at the ASU game, but they ran all over the yard. Kansas State, they always seem to beat Oklahoma, no matter where it is. And if Oklahoma had gotten over that hump, they probably could have made it run. But I still think Oklahoma's good. They just ran into a K-State team that just was hot at the right time, and you can't discredit what Kansas State has done. They always seem to give out some upsets, and this time it was against Oklahoma again. I think we saw that a couple years ago when Oklahoma was in the top 4 and they went to K-State and lost 2.
Yeah, K-State's won 3 of the last 4, and the only one they lost was by 6, I believe.
Right.
So they always
on a bad
in recent
call.
years they've always been playing.
OU fans watching bad call in the game last year.
Yeah, it was pretty poor, but I still think Oklahoma's good. I think Dylan Gabriel's a really good quarterback, dual threat. So I think if he had he likes to spread the ball around, and I'm not sure that they were. I don't really think the Oklahoma offense is necessarily ready for that. I think it takes some time to kind of get that type of offense, under a team's belt.
Yeah, definitely don't discredit K-State. I think they could win 10 games this year.
Yeah.
10 games.
And
Including
Texas,
the bowl. Including
and
the bowl.
Texas lost.
Oh, okay.
That
Yep.
was Texas good. Remind me of
Texas, yeah, they're
Alright.
right. They never strike me as that killer team like in the Big 12. Like even when they had Mahomes, they weren't great.
Yeah.
So some news out of Evanston, Illinois today.
Ooh.
Northwestern building a new football stadium, and it'll be used for other events too, like concerts and different things. As somebody who has visited that stadium before, a long time coming. It's a super weird. Like you can be walking in a neighborhood, and you'll get into the street, and then boom, it's just right there. It's an interesting place. I think it was like what, $800 million.
$800 million.
Yeah.
If you're spending let me say this: if you're spending $800 million, put a roof on it. Like it's cold as what up there. Like put a roof on it.
And it was a downgrade in capacity by quite a bit too, like 12K less than.
Nobody goes to the
Yeah,
game.
but
Yeah,
I have an issue
that's
with
good for them.
Right. It makes it louder. It just makes it look more
But
full.
if you're spending $800 million, put a roof on it. I mean, are you serious? I mean, it's
It's not an open
freezing.
closed roof. It's just open.
No, it's just open. Like put a roof
It's
on it.
kind of reminds me of a soccer stadium.
A little bit.
At least the
We
sketches.
can put a picture. We can put a picture right here of it, so you folks have a good look at it.
So I think we all
Look at that.
Yeah, there it
That's
is.
the one.
Yeah.
That's very
It kind of
odd.
does.
It does look like a soccer.
Reminds me of a
I-
Like a premier.
No, I think it's good for them.
Yeah.
Is that the rendering? That looks like a real photo. Oh, that's yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think Northwestern should have a lot of potential. I mean,
They need a new coach.
right. I just meant like in terms of athletics and.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You're in a really great location
Mhm.
because you're not right in Chicago. You're about
Outside.
20-25 minutes outside of it. It's super nice. You're right on the beach. And yes, that beach is a little rough about half the year.
That's
but-
a beat.
But man, in the summer, that's one of the nicest places to be. So I think they have potential there. It's nice to see them making some upgrades.
Yeah. Insert right here. Thank you.
Insert here.
So
Insert the photo there. Sorry, I just wanted to get that going.
you can always insert photos, Coop.
I don't know how to do that. I did learn some Photoshop skills in 306 today, but I still don't know what I'm doing.
So staying with the Big Ten, Minnesota. I wasn't surprised to see them beat Michigan State. I wasn't even surprised to see them beat Michigan State by multiple touchdowns. Now, I was surprised that the score was essentially 34-0. Michigan State had a garbage time touchdown with their backup quarterback in.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like, it was a 34-0 game. I'm a Michigan State fan, and I'll say that. I think they're legit. I thought they were good. Like, I think we go back to the first podcast even. I was like, in my mind, they were pretty close to being ranked. They just hadn't played anybody, given me any reason to. But I don't think anything's changed. But I checked earlier this weekend. Their defense is number 1 in total defense, and their offense is number 3 in total offense. Which we're 4 weeks into the season, so even holding those numbers is pretty impressive. I think shutting out Michigan State. Anytime you shut out, like Michigan State, they're not great this year, but I think I'm comfortable still saying they'll make a bowl game at least.
Yeah.
Anytime you shut out a Power 5 team that's going to make a bowl game, that's pretty impressive, especially on the road. And it's still a hostile environment, regardless of how good the team is.
Mm-hmm.
especially when Michigan State coming off this loss to Washington, we were just really focused on how great Washington was because of
But it
that, how
doesn't
great
really
they looked.
Look that good of a win
Right.
anymore because
Right.
Yeah, it's just another team on the schedule.
It's
Yeah.
still a
It's
good
still
one
a
for
good
the
win.
program.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But it's like
morale.
it's not
booster.
like as big of a win as it could have been when they were like the number 11 ranked team in the
Right.
nation at the time. But now they're like unranked, and now they got
Yeah.
smashed by the
yeah,
Golden
no, they
Gophers.
got dominated by Minnesota. So I want to kind of see what you guys think about Minnesota. I'm not gonna lie, I had them ranked. I think the highest I had them ranked at like 12 or 13, which you may say is like somebody else can talk. Okay, Mets won. All right.
That's poor.
Sorry, I know that's on me.
Wow.
Hey, it's
That's
a
a bad
it's a
day.
division race right now.
That's a bad day in the neighborhood.
division race right now.
It's a bad day in the neighborhood. Am I talking now?
Yes. What do you think?
Oh,
SEC?
well, I think Mohamed Ibrahim, the running back, is
I
fantastic.
think he's the top 5 running back in the country.
I would have to agree. Marley Arrell loves Tanner Morgan. Not really, but I think he's actually playing well. And I think this is probably the best start to any season that he's had. And he's been there for like 15 seasons.
Basically, yeah.
He's always been hovering around 100 QBR. But I think Minnesota has been really good. A lot higher expectations. With a veteran team. Still kind of riding the wave from a couple years ago when they had that huge win over Penn State. But I think I'm kind of curious to see how they stack up against like a Michigan or like a Maryland or Ohio State. Like
I think they're better than Maryland.
I do too.
Yeah.
Well, I do too. I think that'd be a good early test for them. But I'm curious to see how they do against like not like the powerhouses, but kind of in between. Because Minnesota, they kind of struggle. Like they always start off like okay, and then they're going 4-1, 5-1, and they kind of hit like a rough patch. And they kind of see if they can get over that hump. But it's better start than last year because they lost to Bowling Green at home in their first game of the season.
But then they turned around. They ended up winning like 9 games last year.
Yes, but still the loss to Bowling Green is
Right.
really bad at home. But they need to go on the road a little more, get into a tough environment before I can really say that they're playing really well.
Was Michigan State not a tough environment? They might not be the best team this year, but I think Michigan State is.
Well, that's
is a
just one
tough-
road
It's
I-
a
game.
Big
I
Ten
feel like-
team,
yeah.
a Big Ten East team at home. I'd say that's
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Well, I
think
think.
so.
Well, I'm thinking though, like they need to like go on the road more than once. Like everybody can win on the road once.
They'll
but if
play
they
Penn
win on
They
the
State.
road,
have Penn State
They've
on
got
Going
the
more and
whiteout
more.
in Penn State in a couple
Right.
weeks.
Right. That's the
They
kind of
play
environment I'm
Penn
talking
State.
about. I mean,
Yeah,
the environments they're
Wisconsin,
playing at,
yeah.
Illinois is not a good environment.
No.
Penn State
State
is.
will be-
Nebraska
intense.
should be a good environment.
Yeah,
Nebraska
yeah.
usually shows how.
And Wisconsin.
But if they
Yeah, Wisconsin,
win
maybe.
or keep it close, then you can start talking about how good they can really be. Because New Mexico State bottom tier team, Colorado's been a bottom tier team, Western Illinois not fantastic, but the win against Michigan State was very good.
Yeah, like you guys said, they're doing pretty good. They're pretty like right now. I feel like they're a really good, well-rounded team.
Very
They can get
balanced.
their passing offense going, they can get their running offense going, and their defense, like you said, is really good. I'm excited to see where they go from here. Like Cooper said, I would want to see them play in a tougher environment, which we're going to see here in a couple of weeks against Penn State. But other than that, I'm excited to see where this well-rounded Minnesota Golden Gophers team is going to go.
Go Gophers.
Yeah, if you're a Gopher fan, it's a great time to be one because you look at the rest of the schedule. You've got all the Big Ten West, which has
Yeah.
been pretty bad this year.
Yeah, they've been
not
really
gonna
good.
lie. And then you've got the not so great teams in the Big Ten East. You've got the Rutgers of the world and teams like that. This team could go to Indianapolis with 11 wins potentially, even 12 if they pull out a Penn State win. So look
That's
out.
crazy.
11. They could go 11-1 or 12-0 headed into Indianapolis. That would be a hell
That's
of
tough.
a Big Ten championship.
I think 11's
Yeah.
tough.
I think they'll drop like.
You
I
can
don't
never
know.
count out Purdue.
No, you can't count out Purdue.
You can't count
You
out
Purdue. I think
Penn
that'll be
State, whiteout, that's tough.
No, right,
Nebraska on
that's-
the road is tough. And then the last two
Nebraska's
games.
not tough.
Last 2 games.
Well, it's at
Ill-
Nebraska.
They got
It's at
versus-
Nebraska.
When's the last time Nebraska won a game?
If Minnesota can
Well, I'm just
score
saying,
more
it's a
than
road
8
game.
points, they'll beat Iowa.
And then,
Yeah.
well,
Illinois is tough.
hey,
Illinois is
Iowa
good.
scored a
Illinois is
lot
tough.
of points last week. And then Wisconsin, it's not necessarily that Wisconsin's like not great, but it's a rivalry game. It's always tough.
Yeah, no,
And it's at Wisconsin too.
Yeah.
but I think
That'd be a tough
they're
game.
good. I don't see really any holes right now with them. You
I
have a
don't,
better
I don't either.
I think ceiling is 10 wins for me.
ceiling. I think ceiling is 11.
I think
The
ceiling's
ceiling.
10 for me.
Ceiling,
Ceiling
highest
is
we
11.
think they
Highest,
could.
I think
Is
it's
11,
10.
not including a bowl.
I'd
It's
say
11.
12.
10.
12. You think they can win
12
out?
regular season.
Realistically,
You think they can win out?
I think so. It's there in
Interesting.
front of them.
I agree it's there in front of them, but it's
I-
Minnesota.
So I feel like they'll bring some.
yeah, but
bumps in
PJ
the-
Fleck has had success. They
Western
had a bad
Michigan.
COVID year, but I'm not going to hold that against him. And then before that, they had like the best season in recent memory with PJ
yeah,
Fleck.
they started 9-0.
Go
Yeah.
for football's on the up and
No,
up.
I
boys.
think they're legit. They were sneaky good last year because everyone thought they were bad after they lost to Bowling Green. Which, yes, you lose to Bowling Green at home, you are bad for that. But then they turned it around, and I don't see any holes. You got Tanner Morgan, who's been there forever. So you have a veteran quarterback, and he's good. He's not great, but he's good. Top 5 running back in college football. You have so far statistically the best defense in college football. Statistically,
No, that's fine.
yeah.
That's
So
fine.
I think
I
they-
love statistics. and
6
defense.
points a game.
Right. I think they
Yeah.
have. I think they're pretty complete.
Penn State's a night game, by the way, and it's a whiteout. Good luck to you guys.
At 4:30.
We'll see.
Well, that's
Well,
for
night
us.
night game.
That's
for,
a night game.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, whiteout at
7:30.
night. Yeah, good luck to them.
Is it
with
the
that.
whiteout game?
Yes.
Oh boy. Yeah, they're not winning that.
Yeah.
That might be.
We'll see.
That could be game day.
It probably.
Oh, it
I
probably-
hope it is.
Think about that. It could be.
I think that'd be a fun game day.
It's gonna be tough for them to go in there. It's even tough playing a video game and going in there. And playing yeah, let's be real.
To quickly mention, in the Michigan State game, Tanner Morgan only missed 3 passes the entire game. Went 23 for 26.
Well, his passes, he doesn't throw the ball deep that
No.
much.
Exactly.
And to be fair, MSU's secondary is
Yeah,
the
you
worst in
said-
the
yeah.
conference.
Yeah,
and that's I mean
pretty
that's
bad.
right, that's what we said about. That's why I
Mhm.
thought they were going to lose to Washington was because I thought they were going to get torn up passing and so I kind of hold his numbers against Michigan State with a grain of salt. But I still think he's good.
Right.
But speaking of Michigan State, here we'll take a quick.
Taking a pause, taking over for just a second. Michigan State
Yeah.
and somebody near and dear to my heart, Mel Tucker,
Mel Tucker.
who's their head coach. Do you think that they overpaid for Mel Tucker?
Yeah, they overpaid for Mel Tucker. Oh yeah.
Do you?
Yeah, they're in, is this year 3 of his contract?
This is year 4. I want to say
3. This is year 3.
3, year
Is it?
3,
Year
and
3 is always usually a tough one for coaches.
yeah, this is year 3 is usually the make or break. year,
I don't know about
as
that.
they say.
I think year 3 is usually the toughest because you got the worst recruiting class from the leftover coach, and your first recruiting class, especially his first recruiting class, is his worst one because you have to think you couldn't have visits basically his whole time.
Right.
So I think this is his year with the least amount of talent that he'll have. But yeah, you can continue.
I still think they overpaid. That was a crazy contract that they signed him to last year. Well, I don't
It's,
remember. What was it?
It's 9
An extension. School announced that Tucker will make a $9.5 million non-performance related compensation, which includes a $5.9 million base salary, $3.2 million for media and personal appearances, and a $400,000 contingent annual bonus. The new deal ends in January the 15th of 2032.
Yeah, it's basically 10 years, 90 mil.
Yes.
So $9 million a year,
Yeah.
and I don't think it'll last every
I don't
year
think
of that contract, which is going to cost Sparty a little bit of green.
And you think they'll
on that.
fire him?
No, I don't know if they'll fire him. Depends. I don't know. They could. They might let him go early, depending on how he does. I mean, I just have to see on how it goes down the line. But yeah, I'd say it's an overpay this early in the tenure.
Yeah, I don't have a lot to say. I kind of agree with BP. I feel like it's overpay. We're gonna have to see what he does with the rest of the season and ongoing. But for now, I'd have to agree with BP and say that he's getting a little bit overpaid here.
I think he's getting overpaid a little bit, but I don't think he's a bad coach. The only reason I say that is I'm gonna kind of mention like Dabo Sweeney. Like I feel like a lot of the older coaches are who aren't Alabama or Georgia or like the top teams are struggling a little bit to figure out NIL because all the younger coaches, they know NIL. They're all about it. They know what to do. They know how to bring guys in. They know what to pitch to them for NIL. a lot of these older guys like Mel Tucker or Dabo Sweeney, especially with the transfer portal as well, with NIL, I kind of put those together. They're still trying to figure out all that. And Michigan State had a fantastic year last year. Got to watch them in the Peach Bowl. But I think when you have that kind of talent and you lose that kind of talent, it's hard to replenish it really quickly, especially when the transfer portal is just so prevalent because you've got guys going every which way. And I think it's going to take them a year or two to kind of figure out, hey, how do I get better with NIL? How do I get better with the transfer portal? What do I need to make my team better? Because I was talking to my dad about this, it's so hard with the transfer portal now, to kind of say, do I really want to recruit this guy, or do I want to save that scholarship for somebody else in the transfer portal? But then you may not get that guy in the transfer portal.
Yeah.
So I think it's really difficult to kind of base some of these older coaches. You got to give them some time. It takes them a little bit more time than some of the younger guys who understand this stuff. So I think they're overpaying him, but I think he's a good coach.
NIL needs to be figured out a little bit better in general.
For sure.
And then I think
It's too confusing.
Yeah, it is, and I agree with you what you're getting at there. The older coaches have to figure out the balance of utilizing their resources, scholarships, fund money, whatever you want to call it, and they'll be if they get some more clarity on it. I think.
Well, and how are they? I say this too. How are they going to know what the players are? What's hip to the players? It's like generation gap. Like the younger guys don't know what the older questions. The older people don't know the younger questions. They need to hire. I think support staff seem to be bigger than ever because you need people like who our age who work in the recruiting department and know what the players are in tune to.
GAs.
So you can know what they want.
Yeah.
Because the older guys like Nick Saban, Mel Tucker, they're not going to know what they want. They're just coaching. They're so used. They've been here so long. They're so used to going into the home and saying, "Here's why you should come to my school." Not here. I'm going to give you this much money for this deal.
Yeah.
So I am going to disagree with you guys. I mean, I guess you could say it's a little bit of an overpay. I think they would have gotten him for less. But you got to think, they were just go back a year ago. There was a lot of talks about LSU coming in and poaching him. So if you're Michigan State, they had a big donor come forward and they wanted to pay to keep him because they felt like they found their guy. And I have no issue with that because they're not. Michigan State has more money than people realize. They have some pretty good donors, especially with Matt Ishbia, who's a billionaire and used to be a basketball player at Michigan State, and he was a big donor that put forward the $90 million. Not the only one, but a big part of that. So they have the money for it, and then they wanted to keep him because there was talks with LSU poaching him, and obviously as a program, LSU does have more money than Michigan State. They were one of the premier brands of college football, and so I don't have an issue with that. I also, in 2019, Michigan State's recruiting class was in the 30s, and then 2020 was bad too. Same with 2021.
Well, you can't really base off 2020.
Exactly, so those can't really hold against. But then 2023, going forward, that's the composite rank top 25, transfer rank of 10.
There's a caveat. It's early.
Okay, then 2022, composite 23 again, and transfer rank of 20. He's recruiting. Composite.
Right.
Compiles all sites. He's recruiting better than any Michigan State coach in recent memory. He hit the transfer portal last year. Obviously, Kenneth Walker was a hit. He did go out in the transfer portal again for a replacement. He got guys who looked like they were good gets on paper. They haven't performed to what was expected. You have Jalen Berger from Wisconsin, and then Jarek Broussard, who at one point was the Pac-12 Offensive Player of the Year. So you got good guys to fill in Kenneth Walker's holes. It just hasn't worked out. I think
it takes time.
Yeah, I think it takes time. I think right now the roster as it is in a little bit of a mess between that COVID recruiting class and Mel Tucker's first recruiting class, and then D'Antonio's last recruiting class, where this is the least talented team he's going to have in his career at Michigan State. Also, I saw a stat. Since Mel Tucker has arrived at Michigan State, they've had 55 players transfer out from the program. Only 5 of those guys made it to Power 5 teams. That shows just how depleted the talent was, So I think I have no issue with it. Obviously it hasn't been a great start for them, but I think right now the big issue is the defensive coordinator, Scotty Hazelton, who was hired from the Big 12. Don't know why you hire a Big 12 defensive coordinator.
Yeah,
But
Big 12.
I think that right now is the issue. I still think he's the guy for them. I don't think it was an overpay. They paid what they needed to keep him, and they wanted their guy, and I completely understand that. Like, if you can afford to put forward the money to keep him, then why not? Especially, he's 2-0 against Michigan, which that may change this year. Well, I mean, regardless, it's going to change. Either going to be 3-0 or 2-1, but that's important for Michigan State, for the fans, and then the donors. So I think he'll be okay. I think Michigan State will be fine. I don't think it was an overpay, which I know is an unpopular opinion, not only here but just around college football in general right now. I think it's still 4 games into the season.
Yeah, long way to go.
Yeah. But a team that did destroy Michigan State, Washington, looking ahead of their schedule, obviously they're undefeated right now. They have 1 game against a ranked team the rest of the year, and it's at Oregon, which is
Pac-12 is terrible.
Right. Like, at Oregon is a tough place to play. I don't think they win.
100%.
I don't think they win that game. But I mean, what are they? Are they going to be? I'm confident in saying they could easily be playing for a Pac-12 title if they roll in with only 1 loss. So. Yeah, USC and Utah, they're like, which one of the 3 gets left out? And I'm not saying Washington's better than either of those teams.
Well, I think the Washington-Oregon game will probably decide who's the other team in the Pac-12 because it's by win percentage, not division.
Right.
Yeah. So you're pretty much saying USC is probably going to run the table.
But USC has at Utah.
It's true.
So
That's true. It's a cluster, I think that Washington is going to – I think they're going to trip up somewhere. I feel like there will be just one. I mean, Oregon State's really tough. In Oregon, and the way Washington State's been playing recently,
That will be tough.
it'll be tough games at Washington State. Of course, Washington State with a great, loss to Bo Nix last week. So I think Washington, just the inexperience of most of the guys that being good and being in top 25. And having to play that well consistently every week, I think they'll trip them up at some point. So no, I do not think they will make the title game. Pac-12.
Yeah. Me being Washington biased, I'm going to actually agree with Cooper, though. I feel like
He loves Washington State, but he's like, yeah, I love Washington.
no, I never said I love Washington State. Even
You
though I
went
think
there.
You went
I
there.
know I went there, but
He's an Apple Cup house divided by
no,
himself.
Yeah,
I would take
yeah.
UW over Washington. But that being said, I think I agree with Cooper. I feel like they will. They always do this every year. They do hiccup one of these games, and at Oregon and at Wazoo are going to be very tough games, and I feel like they're going to lose one of the 2, which I hope it's against Oregon, if anything, because I would not want to lose to Wazoo. But
You don't want to lose to the school you want to?
no, I hope they kill them. But
Okay.
that being said, I feel like out of the 3 teams, I feel like UW would be the ones to be left out. But we'll see. It's still early on. They're doing really good right now. Like Michael Penix, I'm pretty sure is first in passing yards. They're first in passing yards per game. And they also, I think, are top 5 in sacks. So I feel like they're doing pretty good right now. But again, it's still early on. We're going to have to see where they go. But right now, I would have to say I would leave UW out instead of UCLA and Utah.
Yeah, I think the last 8 games they have, it's kind of like 4 really easy games. Like UCLA, I know they're 4-0, but they're Mickey Mouse 4-0. They've played so many close games this year.
I don't think they're bad.
They had to beat South Alabama on a game-winning field goal, and
UCLA sucks.
Yeah.
Their atmosphere is terrible.
Their atmosphere is terrible.
and it's at UCLA, so all 45 fans will be screaming their heads off. They're at Arizona State. Shoot, man, it depends honestly how long Sean Aguano takes to get the boys in shape. Arizona, they'll beat. Cal, they should beat. The last 4, even Colorado. Call me crazy, but Colorado will roll into this game 0-11 or 1-10, and they'll be looking.
At UW?
They'll be looking for anything. They'll be putting their craziest and best foot forward. I don't know. They won't beat them, but I think it'll be a close game, especially at the end of the year. They'll have 1 or 0 wins. They'll have nothing to lose. So I think any one of those 4 games could be a trip up for the Huskies. So I would say they lose 2 of them. I say they lose to Oregon. I'd probably say they lose both the road games. Looking at it now, Washington State, I say they lose the Apple Cup contest on the road. They finish 10-2, and with USC and Utah, that probably won't get them to the Pac-12 title. So I'll say they won't make it.
All right.
All right, going to a much better conference.
Yep.
Coop, you've been high on a certain player on a certain team in the
Yeah.
SEC since the first episode. He was your player to watch.
That's right.
Hendon Hooker.
Oh yeah.
What do you have to say about your guys' performance last weekend overall this season?
Well, let me say this. It really hurts me to say this, but I gotta be neutral. You gotta be a journalist here. Tennessee put on a great atmosphere. The checkerboard was alive. It made me want to vomit watching that game, but it was a good atmosphere. Hendon Hooker, man, I told you guys at the end of the game, man, he is an electric player. 350 and a couple of touchdowns. I was really surprised on how slow the game started. I mean, it was 6-3 or something at the end of the first quarter. I don't know, 3-3 something. What was it? What was at the end of the first quarter? What was the score?
3-0.
3-0. I said, I hammered like there were being so many points in this game, and I was watching like why is nobody scoring? But Hendon Hooker, he's just a great player. He's a really good dual threat quarterback. Cause I'm surprised he's really a dual threat because he's really tall. But he BP loves it. He throws it around the yard. He slings it around the yard. Josh Heupel's offense likes to sling it around and score as many points as possible. I think Hendon Hooker really is trying to put his name in the conversation for Heisman. I really don't think that many people were talking about it, and I think that this performance elevated him into that conversation.
Yeah, I agree with Cooper here. He had a really good game. Basically, 460 yards of offense, 350 through the air, 112 on the road. On the ground is what I mean. With a touchdown on the ground and 2 in the air. Yeah, like Cooper said, he's really good, and he's really putting his name out there for the Heisman conversation. And if he keeps it up like this, I feel like he might have maybe a good chance of winning the Heisman. So
Tennessee's for real. I mean, obviously
for sure.
with Georgia in their division, I don't think they'll make it to the SEC title game, but there's still a possibility out there for
It's
them
gonna be a
to
tough
win.
game for us.
Them to win
It's gonna be a tough game.
10 games. They do play Alabama, Georgia, and Kentucky. But I think they're better. Right now, I think they're better than Kentucky. Right now, I think
They're
they
better
give
than
Alabama a good game.
Oh yeah.
Right now, I don't think they would lose as bad as most people think they would to Georgia. And so I'd say they go 10-2, but they have a great offense, which is something I like to see in the SEC because it's usually not out there all the time, especially with the game of the century back in 2011.
Yeah, those are 2 great defenses.
9-6 made me want to vomit watching the replays of that. But yeah, I like watching Hendon Hooker, and that Tennessee-Florida game was a shootout, and it was a good game for both squads. Honestly, a good rebound for Anthony Richardson, but I think Tennessee's for real. They could easily have double-digit wins
That
this year.
says quite a bit about Florida. Florida looks like they play up and down to their competition
Oh,
after
yeah.
what
Yeah.
we saw here.
Yeah.
So
Anthony Richardson did awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah,
It was
he's
a
amazing.
great matchup. Hendon Hooker versus Anthony Richardson.
Yeah, it was a great
fun.
game.
Yeah.
The other thing is Tennessee's got both their biggest games this season are on the road,
That's true.
Alabama and Georgia.
Yep.
So it's going to be tough for them.
That's a test right there.
Yeah, it's a test. Rolling into Alabama and they're really close to each other because they always play Alabama the 3rd Saturday of October, and then they play Georgia November 6th, first weekend of November. So really close. So they're gonna have to buckle up because it's coming.
No, I really like watching them this year, and I'm usually not a big Tennessee guy. Usually they're one of the teams that I think is always overrated.
Yeah, like USC.
Or
USC,
Texas.
Notre Dame,
Texas.
Texas hasn't. No one's thought they've been good for a little
Well,
bit.
They were in
the
they were in
AP
the
poll
top
says
15
otherwise.
last year.
AP
The
poll says
lost to
otherwise.
Arkansas.
Arkansas.
Good grief.
So yeah, I think they're really fun to watch.
I agree.
I do. Their scheduling is unfortunate, but
Hey, that's the problem with it. Hey, that's the thing with the SC. Every week is a tough game. No matter.
I don't know
who you
about
play.
that.
Well, most of the time.
Yeah,
it's not
it's
not
your top.
guaranteed.
It's like it's so demoralizing.
At
No matter what, you're like, oh man, I got Georgia and Bama on the road, like
And LSU.
They play at LSU too.
Yeah.
right, and that's
But
yeah.
it's not a night game, so
Oh yeah,
they'll
it is.
kill them.
It is.
Yeah, they'll kill them.
game.
So one more thing before we get to our underdog picks. I think we're doing pretty solid on time, so I just want to bring this up. Obviously, we attend ASU, so you guys have any candidates that come to mind that you would like to see be the next Arizona State head coach? Because I don't think we really talked about this last week.
We didn't. Two guys one guy I'm really looking at. The other guy I just really want. Well, I want them both. The first one's the actual legit like Kalani Sitake at BYU. The only problem is BYU's probably going to open up their paycheck and they're going to give him some more money. So slide him another paycheck. But I would also, probably unrealistic, but you never know, I'd like to see Deion Sanders. We talked about NIL. That guy would kill NIL and he would be a really good recruiter. And that's exactly what we need.
I feel like this. I feel like this is going to be very unrealistic too, but
Probably the Washington State head
no.
coach.
Urban Meyer.
Oh boy.
Urban Meyer and Deanna both.
I want to see Urban Meyer
succeed.
over here. I feel like that would be a lot of fun to see what he would do to this ASU football team.
Yeah, he'd make it
With
worse.
coming from the Big
He
Ten
would
and Ohio
not.
State. So I feel like Urban Meyer
We'll
would
talk
be
about
pretty
that
interesting. So yeah, BP, your thoughts on
Well,
who you want
Coop,
to see?
I don't know how you're gonna feel about this
I
one,
think I know where this is going.
but I'm gonna go with kind of an under the radar candidate, not a current head coach, a current offensive coordinator,
at Georgia.
and Todd Monken.
Yeah.
I think he could really transform ASU's offense because it has looked very, very stagnant these last couple of weeks. And the one time he was a head coach, he was a head coach at Southern Miss in the mid-2010s. He actually turned them around, gave them a good season in 2015. They made a bowl game for the first time in God knows how long. But his offensive mind is fantastic to watch. He's at Oklahoma State for a couple of years too, so he was there when Brandon Wheaton and Justin Blackman were high flying. And he's one of the great minds, offensive minds in college football. I think he could do a lot with a chance to coach the Sun Devils.
The only problem is he's a lot older, and
Yeah.
I talked about wanting to get somebody who would know NIL, and Georgia's not really pro NIL, so it'll be a little bit tougher. But I mean, he's a great offense coordinator. Really turned the Georgia offense around. When Kirby Smart started, it was all about defense. Didn't score a bunch of points, but now we're high flying and we're doing really well. So I like what you're saying over there. My parents, my dad especially, was talking about it. He was like, "Man, you guys cannot get him." I'm like, you know what? If it helps us out, it helps us out. So there you go.
All right, so we're moving on to our underdog picks. For anybody who doesn't know, because this is the second week of us doing it.
That's right.
Basically, we just have to pick somebody who is the underdog in their game this weekend.
Plus
Do
200.
you guys have the standings for that, by the way?
You're winning.
Maybe.
So far, only one person has been right, and that's Brendon Paul.
I just like to mess around.
He
Should've been
is sitting at 2.3 points because he picked a team that was plus 230 underdogs. So
Suck it.
Who was it? Oh, it was
Texas.
Suck it, Texas. Suck it.
Tags.
And my second pick was going to be K-State, so it worked out either way.
Oh, that would have been.
That would have been awesome.
That would have been
I was more confident in
Was
Texas.
it plus 200 minimum odds?
We didn't set a minimum. Do we want to set a
I
minimum?
thought it was plus 200.
We never set a minimum.
I thought we said, all right. Well,
Because, I mean, you can build up. I mean,
Right,
it gives
it's-
you a strategy. in
Yeah,
this,
if
well, I'm
you-
gonna stick with my pick, and then I'll just do next week, whatever.
Yeah, I have like a few in mind, so I'll just let you guys go first. So then, if anybody picks one I was thinking of, I'll just pick a different one. So
Plus 210 odds.
Oh, you're going to steal mine, aren't you?
Yeah.
Who is it?
Texas Christian University
Oh, no,
against
okay.
Oklahoma.
But that's a
Texas
great
Christian
pick.
I like that one.
That's-
I was
against
thinking about
Texas-
that. I like it. I
Texas
like it.
Christian University.
I like
against
that a lot.
Oklahoma. I could be completely wrong. TCU could get blown out, but TCU, I think it's at TCU. Is it at?
It has to be. OU's played too
Yeah,
many
it's
damn
wait,
home
hold on,
games.
go down for a second. Yeah, it's
It
at
is at
TCU. Tickets as low as $80 at Amon G. Carter Stadium out there in Fort Worth, Texas. TC, it's 11 a.m.
The
kickoff.
stadium's trash, by the way.
Well, that's not what I was going to say. The atmosphere, though, is usually pretty good. Oklahoma's struggled there in the past. I still think TCU is flying under the radar a little bit. TCU always seems to just beat a team that they probably shouldn't. And I'm going to go with that this week. Plus 210 odds.
That
TCU
wasn't mine, but I like that. That was one
Good
I
pick.
had in consideration. That is a good pick. I thought about it, but I didn't pick it. I'll let you go first then.
Again, this is going to be another big hit or big miss type game. Plus 345.
Ooh.
Iowa Hawkeyes.
Oh!
45.
My goodness!
That's what I was
Hawkeyes.
thinking about. Alright.
I feel like this is
Well,
going
you're
to
gonna
be
have to do
this is
some
going to
more
be a really big game for Michigan to see where they're at right now.
Yep.
I love that pick.
It's a
Michigan's
great pick.
offense against Iowa's defense is going to be, I feel like, a great battle, hopefully. And I feel like Iowa has a really good potential to pull off the upset in Iowa. So Iowa plus 345
Iowa
is my
City,
pick.
Iowa. The kids are going to be rocking.
The reason I thought you stole mine, Coop, is because mine is also plus
I
210.
know who it is.
Going with the Atlantic Coast Conference. Sticking with the team I picked last week. 7-point underdogs, the Wake Forest Demon Deacons
There you
against
go.
Florida State.
Ride the train.
They almost pulled it out. Double overtime heartbreaker against Clemson last week. They gave Clemson all they could handle. I think that momentum carries over to Tallahassee. Well, will it be Tallahassee?
Yes, they're fine.
Okay.
That's fine.
Yeah, so in Tallahassee, just making sure, because there have been a plethora of games that have been moved over the past couple of days.
That's a big word.
Yeah, but I think Wake will carry over. I like Sam Hartman and what the offense has done, so give me Wake Forest plus 210.
There you go. Well, what are you going to pick now? It's
Okay.
tough.
I got two in mind, but one was only plus 175, so I'll go with the one with a little better odds to make
juice
it
to
a little
it.
more juice. Let me make sure I get these odds right as I was scrolling. Okay, plus 220. I got Illinois going into Wisconsin, coming out with a dub.
Okay.
The only reason I'm a little bit nervous about this is because it's at Wisconsin. I think Illinois is the better team. I don't think it being at Wisconsin is that it should be like a 7-point swing like that. Because I think neutral site I would pick Illinois in a heartbeat. So yeah, that's a plus 220. All these kids picked ones I was thinking about, so this was kind of my leftover, which is fine.
Kids.
Yeah, kids. I think I'm the oldest. Maybe not.
That's
no,
cat.
yeah,
No,
okay.
I'm older, so-
All right.
He's only 16 days younger than me too.
Man, you guys.
You're on the bottom of the totem pole.
All right. I think one that was interesting though was Nebraska is favored, which
Against who?
Against
What, like-
Indiana.
Colorado State.
So like,
There's a reason.
so like plus 175. I
Yeah,
thought
it's
about
kinda
that,
weak
but
odds.
it is weak odds. So I'm rolling with Illinois at plus 220. So
Now everybody's favorite segment.
the pick'em
Yes.
Presented by Cruise Light.
This ain't game.
presented by Body Armor.
Yes, absolutely.
We do not.
What?
We do not. Whatever it's called. We do not promote underage drinking. So no Coors Light.
Yeah.
Yeah, this isn't college game day here.
Put the symbol with the circle with the red slash through it right here. Or you can put the X over the Coors Light logo. We do not condone that.
No, we don't.
Or the circle with the slash through it, but it said 21 behind
Yeah,
it.
we don't need the Coors Light low because that's money. That's money to pay for the
Yeah,
rights.
we don't do that. Yeah, we don't do
no.
that. We don't do that.
All right. So
Quick.
quick,
Cut that part out.
quick update on the pick'em standings.
Oh
In first place is myself at 38 and 10.
Dang
In
it.
second place is Cooper Burns at 36 and 12.
Not good enough.
Tied for third are Evan and Caleb at 34 and 14. And last, but made up some ground. You had a better week than in week one. BP at 14 and 10.
14 and 10.
With an asterisk.
All right,
We
that's
went
good.
8-4 last
That's
week.
good.
That's solid. No, that's solid. I
So
went
Mickey
I went
Mouse.
10 and 2.
Mickey Mouse
I don't
week.
even remember who I picked, but I went 10 and 2.
There you go.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
Congratulations.
Oh yeah, I'm only 12% off. You two.
This guy did math bowl in high school or something. So
Yeah, that's a technical. It's not math.
academic bowl.
There you go.
So
Show him the T-shirt.
Evan, what are you doing Friday night? Are you going to be sitting in front of a TV watching the Washington Huskies against
I will be.
the UCLA Bruins?
I will be.
So who do you got?
You already know who I got. I'm going UW. I feel like they're going to stay hot. The offense is going to keep rolling. UCLA, again, their atmosphere, they're not going to show out again.
Yes.
And I feel like UW is going to come out and get the win.
But Erod, school hasn't started, UCLA. All you people telling us about school not starting, give me a break. It's almost October. But if we had a segment in here where we could pick a team to win by more than it's going to say, like a lock win by more than 2.5.
Washington's only
Washington. Washington by far. Washington by far. I'm going with them every day of the week.
UCLA has started classes.
Don't care.
When?
On September 28th.
When did
That's
I-
today.
They started today.
That's today.
Oh my god.
Yeah, we've been going for over a month. So how do you feel? Have fun going to school in June. You freaking
All right, Cooper.
I thought about this game for my lock of the week, but I wanted something a little more challenging, so it's not. But I'm gonna go with Washington. Even if they're in class, there'll be like 15 people to show up. My high school had better student section than UCLA, so and we had 300 kids in our high school. So you should be ashamed of yourself, University of California, Los Angeles. Be ashamed. But I'm gonna go with Washington. We should bring out Andrew Cervantes to get his take on UCLA.
It sounds like, but I'll roll with Washington too. Although it does make me nervous. UCLA, they're undefeated, but I don't think they're like great. Yeah, and obviously I don't think they're having.
They could have lost all 3 games.
Well,
4 games.
You could technically lose every game you play.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah. Well, you can say that for Scott Frost.
Yeah, but I do have Washington. I don't think Washington. I think they're overrated though. But
UW? You gonna take that UW slander?
I'll just let them speak for themselves in this upcoming weeks, and we'll see what
Was
this
a
does.
24-19 win on Friday night.
It's the very high
Michigan at Iowa, the lowest scoring game of the week. I think it will be. Cooper, who do you have?
I've got Michigan. I think they're going to find a way late to win the game. I think they're going to kick a field goal. It always comes down to a field goal at Kinnick Stadium. They're probably going to wear those white jerseys with the blue pants that just look terrible.
I hate their jerseys.
Yeah, they're bad. They look like mustard bottles.
I hate their helmets.
But yeah, they're just all around. Sorry, I don't like Michigan, but it's whatever. I still think Iowa's going to win. I don't think Michigan's going to cover though.
No, I don't think they do either. 11's a big spread for them.
And that's not my lock of the week either.
Yep, and like I said in my underdog pick, I got Iowa. Again, it's going to be Michigan's offense versus Iowa's defense, and I feel like Iowa's defense is going to step up, and I feel like Iowa's offense is also going to step up late in the game to give Iowa the edge over the Michigan Wolverines.
Interesting selection.
I'm going with Michigan. It'll be close. The line's 11. I don't think it'll be that wide of a gap. I think it'll be a 1-score game. Look out for a 17-13 kind of beat.
Ooh.
Would not be surprised.
I got Michigan. I was considering picking Iowa for my underdog just because of the odds. I think 11's a big spread for this game. I think Iowa's a type of team that they'll hang around just because of their defense. And obviously, if you hang around and it rolls in that fourth quarter, anything can happen. But I think Michigan wins. Also, I want to go back to my first pick. I'm switching to UCLA. So I'm just putting it out there. I've decided I'm switching to.
I'm very disappointed.
He's making that graphic.
UCWA. Here we go.
UC.
There's no L for them this week.
Oh, okay.
There's an alpha student section.
That I can agree with you on.
They're gonna rush the field.
Going to a real student section in a real environment this weekend, one of the best environments of the weekend. Kentucky at Ole Miss.
Ooh.
Little SEC action, Mr. SEC. Who you
Yeah,
got?
SEC. This is actually my lock of the week. Ole Miss -7.
Really?
Yeah, Kentucky really struggled against Northern Illinois last week. They couldn't run the ball very well. Cavassier Smoke, which is one of the best names in college football. They just couldn't run well against Northern Illinois. Northern Illinois is not very good. I believe they were 1-2 going into the game. Now 1-3, obviously. And I just think that, with a team that like Kentucky that doesn't play an Ole Miss team a lot, they're not going to be used to this kind of offense. They're not going to be used to the air raid offense, chucking it down the field. It's probably going to be hot and humid, so they'll probably be just tired. I think Lane Kiffin they just know how to win at home. They know how to score points at home. They play a lot better at home. And the atmosphere is going to be fantastic. It's going to be a fantastic atmosphere despite it being 11 a.m. kickoff. They'll bring it. So I think Ole Miss -7 is my lock of the week, and I do that lock. And
Wow.
Either right here, if we're on this camera, or right here, we're going to flash up the shark logo with Ole Miss.
What was
Lock of the week.
The what?
My lock of the shark. You know how they do like the land sharks.
Oh, gotcha.
My lock of the week last week, it did hit.
It did.
Is he 3-0?
I don't
Four,
remember. I'm gonna have to look. I'm gonna have
If
to
it
look.
hit, you're four,
I'm gonna have to
right?
look. I'm gonna have to. Y'all keep going. I'm gonna have to look.
Alrighty, Ron.
All right, I'm gonna keep it short and simple. I also agree with Cooper. I'm going with Ole Miss. This really is gonna be like their first real test of the season against Kentucky, and I feel like they're gonna deliver. And again, I feel like the atmosphere they're gonna bring is gonna be great. This is gonna be another one of these great morning games for us, afternoon game for them. And I feel like Ole Miss is gonna come out with the W.
So, what was your lock of the week?
Baylor over Iowa State.
Yeah. Okay.
By the way, the morning slate this weekend is excellent.
It is. I'm also going with Ole Miss. I think I haven't been that impressed with Will Levis this season.
Yeah.
So I think Ole Miss beats them pretty handedly, especially playing in Oxford.
Get the brooms out because it's a sweep. I got Ole Miss.
Take a screenshot of the
I
bottom.
know. I
Take a
think our
screenshot.
sweeps did pretty well last week. but-
Yeah, I don't think.
Have any of our sweeps not delivered? I'm pretty sure all of them are.
Yes,
Big
last
crap.
week
What?
you all picked Arkansas.
Okay, they shouldn't have lost
That was
game.
ridiculous.
I mean, there was a 99.999999 repeating chance that they should have won that game.
So that was one of the games.
They got. Did you see the end of that game? It hit off the top of the goalpost. How often
Really?
does
No one
that
said
happen?
anything.
Last time I saw somebody hit something off the top of a post was a Korean baseball player hit
Whoa.
the top of a foul pole in left field.
Really?
Yes.
It's pretty impressive.
Yeah, very impressive. And they're way taller than MLB.
Yeah, besides the, I think, 2 or 3 unanimous sweeps from last week, those hit.
There you go.
The
Milk and
Arkansas
cookies.
one.
Milk and cookies.
So, Coop, your underdog pick, Oklahoma travels to play TCU. You talked about them already, but we'll let you put it out there definitively.
Well, I guess if I said underdog pick of the week, TCU, I kind of have to go TCU.
Yeah, that would be a little interesting if you didn't.
So I'm going to stick with TCU. I'm probably going to be wrong about it, but you know what? Let's just roll with the Horn Frog. I like that, that tractor that they have that plays that horn. It's fantastic.
Oh yeah, that's awesome.
It's fantastic. Horn frogs, electric stuff.
Yeah, I'm going Oklahoma with the bounce back game. I feel like Dylan Gabriel and company are going to be very mad from their performance last week. I feel like their run defense is going to step it up this week, and I feel like they're going to get a good bounce back win against the 3-0 TCU Horned Frogs to give them their first loss of the season.
He's going to do it. I don't say it. Go ahead.
You know, this is actually tough. This is a 50-50 game, honestly, for me. OU, they're the better team on paper, but they had a lot of holes that TCU could easily exploit in their game, especially playing at home. That tractor with the horn is very annoying. Even
I love
the
it.
game. I know I like it. It's just annoying when it goes off. And I went to a game where OK State only allowed 6 points, and I still thought it was annoying. But I'm actually gonna, I'm gonna go with the upset as well. I'm gonna go with Texas Christian University pulling it off. 2 L's in a row for Boomer Loser. Gotta do it.
Right there.
Boomer loser.
Boomer Loser. 2 losses in a row.
Say it to both cameras.
Boomer Loser.
I hate to pick Oklahoma, but I will. only because I just don't see them losing 2 in a row. That's my big.
It's hard to lose 2 in a row.
And I think they're too good to lose 2 in a row like that. especially when they're the better team on paper both times. So yeah, Oklahoma. I'm not gonna go too deep into that. Next up, Purdue travels to play the Golden Gophers. I'll start off because I'm very high on Minnesota right now, so they're gonna make me look stupid and lose. But I'm rolling with Minnesota.
My uncle's gonna hate me if he ever listens to this and hears me say this, but I'm gonna go with Minnesota. Sorry.
Yep, I agree. Minnesota, they look great. Very well-rounded. Feel like they're going to win this one.
Yeah, I don't even know why this is minus 12.5. I think Minnesota will blow
Well,
them
Purdue's
out.
always tough.
Yeah, and that's been a thing.
If it was at Purdue,
if it's at
different
Ross-Ade
story.
Stadium at night, all right,
Yeah.
I get it a
On
chance.
ESP
but-
or on
Minnesota.
ABC.
Yeah, on ABC, but Minnesota
Yeah.
by the boat.
Back to BP's favorite team last week, Texas Tech at Kansas State.
Man, who are you gonna pick now? Both of
I
these
know
teams.
these are your
These are my
Yeah,
boys.
these are your
These are my boys right now. Me first.
Let's have BP
Yeah.
start. Yeah.
Well, I think K-State wins the game. I think the way Adrian Martinez looked, some people are going to say he's inconsistent because of the goose egg he dropped in the Tulane game the week before last. But I think he's riding high. He's got the momentum. I think Kansas State wins this game.
Yeah, I'm agree with BP here. I'm going with K-State. Again, I feel like they're going to ride their momentum from that big electric OU upset that they had last week, and I feel like they're going to bring it into this game, and I feel like they're going to pull off the win.
I think Kansas State wins, but you gotta be careful. Kansas State's gotta be very careful. They gotta manage this game very well. Because Texas Tech, you make one mistake, Texas Tech will pounce on it and you could be in trouble. But I'm gonna go with K-State.
This is 50-50 for me. I
Flip
hate
a coin, E-Rod.
Yep.
Flip a coin.
Flip a coin
Yeah, heads or
segment.
tails.
All right.
Here we go.
Uh-oh.
The E-Rod flip a coin segment.
We gotta see. You say the Siri.
Yep.
You wait. We gotta say who's what, who's heads, who's tails.
Well, I'll have Texas Tech as heads.
And Kansas State tails.
All right, drum roll.
Hey Siri, flip a coin. Okay, they do not. Flip a coin. It's heads. Texas Tech. Texas Tech. I don't hate that. I think it's tough for them to win on the road, but I think Kansas State. It's really easy to have a letdown game after a huge win like you just had.
It's very doable.
So I think it's a tough spot for them. So I don't hate it. Like I said, it's 50-50 for me.
50-50, says Mr. Preco.
Yeah, and the next game is one that's not 50-50 for me. Alabama travels to Arkansas. I think Arkansas will be a great environment. I think it'll be a fun game. I just don't think they're good enough to beat Bama. And I think Bama kind of already had that one game where they're going to look a little vulnerable, and that was against Texas. I think they'll be a machine for a little bit until they hit Georgia, inevitably. So yeah, Bama.
Or Tennessee.
Or
It's
Tennessee.
a tough game.
Yeah.
I think Alabama and they cover 17.
17. Yeah, I'm going to go Bama. I think they're going to keep steamrolling, and Alabama's going to go into it.
Alabama next.
Alabama, you're next.
No.
You don't know that clip?
No, I know that clip. It's just no. Hey, old Vandy. Poor old Vandy.
Wake Forest travels to play the Seminoles. I like Wake Forest in this. I don't know why they're 7-point dogs. I think Florida State's good. I just don't. I think Wake Forest is really good. I think they were impressive against Clemson. I think hanging 46. I think
45.
45 on that Clemson defense is impressive. I think Hartman's very good. I just think they'll bounce back and get a. It'll be a tough one. It'll be a fun game, but I think they do win.
I'm going to go Florida State. They're going to be playing for the state of Florida. It's been a bad week for the state of Florida right now. And I think it's going to be a good atmosphere. It's hard to go into Florida State, especially like when they're rolling like this and win a game. So I'm going to go with Florida State because my cousin would kill me if I didn't.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Demon Deacons as well. I feel like Wake Forest, their offense was pretty impressive last week, and I feel like they're going to bring that to the Tallahassee against the Florida State Seminoles, so I feel like Wake Forest is going to win.
Well,
Why did you just say that?
Florida.
That's what they
Florida.
said.
No, I
I'm
said
just cool. I'm just cool. He spelled it Flawda.
That's just not how that's
That's,
just
what
not
people,
how
that's what people say in Florida. Yeah,
No.
they do. Yes, they do. Sometimes, some of that.
Ask Max if he says
Some of
says it
that.
like
One of my friends that lives in Tampa does.
Tampa doesn't exist anymore.
Okay.
That's a
Maybe
T.
we cut that.
Yeah, let's go ahead and cut that out.
That's a T.
But
If anything doesn't, it's 400.
I am not gonna go against my underdog pick. I'm gonna pick Wake Forest. If the state of Florida is being represented by Florida State, I'm moving out and I'm going to Georgia. So give me the Wake Forest.
All right, lock that in, BP. Lock that in.
Yeah, I'll lock it in. Wake Forest outright. Lock it in.
Whoa!
Lock it in. I've got them on 3 different wavelengths here. Lock it in, underdog, and just pick them. So let's go.
All right, next up, Texas A&M travels to play Mississippi State. They are road dogs in this one, I believe.
Yep.
-4. Yeah, I got Mississippi State. I'm not been a big A&M guy. Last week they really should have lost. I know they didn't, but
They lost mentally.
play. I just don't. I'm not a big believer in them. I don't think Mississippi's great either, but I just kind of like them in this spot.
Mississippi State is better than you think they are.
Right. They're solid.
I don't know. This is really tough for me. Texas A&M has looked pretty bad. They are not playing very good defense, so that's why I'm going to go with Mississippi State to win this game. Cowboys have been rocking. Cowboys are very annoying. I'm going to go with Mississippi State and Will Rogers and Mike Leach.
Yeah, this is kind of a tough pick.
Could this be coin flip segment?
Yeah, I'll go
Coin flip
segment.
segment.
Heads is A&M. Tails is Mississippi State.
Here we go.
Heads or tails? It's heads.
Wow.
Oh.
That sucks.
So I'm going A&M is going to come in.
That
against
stinks.
Mike Leach. Mike Leach is Mississippi State
Watch him be
air raid
right.
offense and is going to win. So
Watch him be right.
A&M.
Here it comes, putting the hat on.
This is the best thing right now in the state of Texas. The Frisco Rough Riders, if you know anything about this, shout out to them, Texas League champs. A&M not going to win this game. I'm going with Mississippi State and their air raid offense.
Hey,
their
right now
Cowboys.
for the Cowboys.
And their
What's it
Cowboys,
right
yeah.
here. Cowboys.
Click.
That was bad weather. that
Next
was.
up, we're getting near to the end of our slate, and we have the first
The game of the week.
Only this is not the game of the week, but top 10 matchup. NC State travels to Clemson. I'm going to keep it short. I got Clemson, NC State. I think they're good. I don't think they're a top 10 team. I think they're frauds, and Clemson's tough to play at. So
Weather's going to come into play here. It's probably going to be cloudy. It probably will rain. Maybe, I'm not sure what the forecast is going to be, but it's probably not going to be the greatest conditions after a couple days. I think running is going to be a big factor in this game, so that's why I'm going with Clemson.
Yeah, I'm going with Clemson too. Like Preco said, NC State, I feel like they're a bit overrated, and I feel like they're going to be a little bit exposed while facing this Clemson Tigers team, which looked really good against Wake Forest last week. So I'm going with Clemson on this one.
I'm going to go with NC State on this
Oh,
one. Just to be a little
I
different.
like that.
I think Devin Leary's due for a statement win in his storied
Illustrious
career.
Is this game day?
Yes.
It is?
Yeah, unfortunately, as if there's not enough Clemson coverage.
Hey, it's a night game, Death Valley. It's big. It's a big game.
Yeah, Death Valley for
remember,
Clemson.
how many years ago was it when NC State played that game where it was the weather? It was crazy. It was
Oh
like
yeah,
all
that
over the field.
they're used to it. They're used to
it.
some
No,
weather.
that makes me nervous now. Actually, but
Death
I'm
Valley.
I'm not
yeah.
sure. I'm not sure it's gonna rain, but it could.
Death Valley. It's the death for Clemson's unbeaten record. Give me NC State.
You picked against Clemson last week
I
too.
did pick against Clemson. And I have no beef against Clemson. If anybody from Clemson, South Carolina, town of gotta be like 5,000 people is watching.
More than that.
Well, I'm not counting college students, not counting kids.
Well, more than that still.
All right, unimportant.
Yeah.
And we'll move on to the Big 12. Not the game of the week yet, though. Iowa State at Kansas.
Ooh.
Kansas won the game of the week last week. Still unbeaten. They're not ranked in the AP poll. They were ranked in the pass interference poll at, I want to say 24? Or 20, no, 25, 25, yeah.
They're not ranked.
And you got Iowa State or Kansas.
I am getting with Iowa State.
Really? I'm going to go with Kansas. I'm going to keep rolling with Kansas. And until they tell me otherwise. So.
Will Kansas play a road game? That's my question.
Yeah, and it's in Lawrence. So.
It's in David Booth Memorial Stadium.
I'm going Kansas Jayhawks.
I'm gonna go with Iowa State.
Good call.
I think their time has come. West Virginia, they play sure they got a conference win. They're playing West Virginia. So
Mountain Mama.
give me Iowa State.
Rock chalk, baby.
Rock chalk.
We split on this one.
Kansas. I hated saying those words. I'm not going to do that again.
Shout out Henry Domine.
Oh, no.
No, it's not him. If I'm ever picking Kansas, it's not for Henry.
BP, I'll let you start off our game of the week.
No, you gotta let me go last. This is almost like celebrity.
Headgear.
This is almost like lead
Headgear.
torso for me.
Oh, I guess you're
Yeah,
sorry.
Oklahoma State travels to Waco. Baylor, the 9th ranked team in the country versus the 16th ranked team, and I have the Bears.
Yeah,
Baylor.
Of course.
I got Baylor. I've been high on Baylor all year. It's at home. I've been low on Oklahoma State all year, much to BP's dismay. So, Baylor, I'm rolling with them.
This is a game where whoever the home team is wins the game.
Yeah, I was like, you can just say Baylor. I already knew you were gonna say them.
I've already told you that I was picking Baylor. If Oklahoma State was at home, guess what? Picking Oklahoma State. It's one of those coin flip segments, you know, you do a classic heads or tails, but the heads or tails really falls on who's the home team. And I'm picking Baylor. I think it's going to be an electric atmosphere. You could say that Oklahoma State has a better chance to win because they had a bye week last week. I'm pretty sure that's correct. They had a bye week last week. Yeah, that's what I thought. But I'm going to go with Baylor. There'll be some tense times.
You can go ahead and just say it too, because I know you're gonna say it too.
Again, no. Maybe. I don't know. OSU.
Tickets as low as $51.
OSU's offense against the Baylor Bears defense will be very interesting. It will be a very electric game. But at the end, I'm also agreeing and going with the Baylor Bears.
Yep. All right.
So let's see where this goes with BP.
What do you? So hold on. Here's the thing. You're talking about the defense. Iowa State is not a team I'm very high on in the Big 12, and they almost lost to them last weekend.
Yeah, they also were playing at Iowa State.
Okay, it's a noon game. That doesn't matter. Hey,
Don't you dare
don't bring
crap on noon games.
Don't bring it.
The games like at the
that's the most watched TV.
Yeah,
on
it's crazy.
Saturdays.
Because everyone's like, oh, why did I turn on all these noon games? And then they don't have optimism for the rest of the day. But anyway,
right.
not important. Give me OK State's high-powered, high-flying, Mike Gundy-led offense. And I think Derek Mason, he's got the boys figured out. After the Central Michigan game, they've allowed an average of 12 points a game in the last two.
Against who?
Against ASU.
Exactly.
Wow.
The one you're wearing on your shirt.
Yeah.
The one you pick every week, by the way.
Every week.
You picked them to beat OK State. I watched that podcast.
Yeah, because I'm with the athletic department. I can't publicly go against him.
Interesting.
He's loud.
I would, but anyway, that's not important. I'm going with OK State.
What a shocker.
What a shocker. I know.
What a shocker,
What a
ladies
shocker.
and gentlemen. And, well, unfortunately, that's all the picks we have. We're going to see how many we get correct, and we're going to see how many we get incorrect. And, of course, if you are somehow betting, we wish you luck this weekend. Hopefully the Ole Miss -7 lock of the week will hit. Now we'll go to 5-0. That's not the important part. And, of course, as always, Brendon Prico, Cooper Burns, Evan Rodriguez, Brendon Paul, and we're missing Caleb Campero tonight with a big shout out to him. Ethan Kaplan behind the camera, and we're missing Anthony Chu. We do miss him tonight. Good night from Tempe, Arizona, and have fun watching college football this weekend.
Go Rough Riders.